If you could, Bob's going to have a few more words, and if you could pass your questions down the aisles, the ushers will come down and be collecting them, and then we will have a question and answer period moderated by Justin Martell of Student Scholars.
Okay, thank you for listening to me again. I just want to give you a brief evolution of how I've gotten to where I've gotten. After my son Bobby was murdered, the first 6 months, you're sort of numb. Actually, the first 6 months were sort of easy for me and my family because you had so much attention. Every day I would come home, there'd be phone calls. You're always getting a ton of mail from people I haven't heard of from years and years and years ago. And it sort of just made things easier for you because I remember every day I come home from work and you'll get so many cards talking about the fact that someone's talking about my son, Bobby. After the first 6 months, then people stop calling you and stop writing to you. Well, that to me was the worst period because you didn't get a chance to talk about your son or your loved one. And that's when I started thinking about what happened. Immediately after the towers came down, I certainly did question. I couldn't figure out why they were able to come up with the murderers within days. But again, the first 6 months, you're just sort of numb. Then I joined a group in February of 2002 called September 11th Family for Peaceful Tomorrows. It's the best thing I ever did in my life. These were people, 9/11 people, that had suffered the way I had suffered and wanted to change the world and saying, geez, let's find these people that murdered our loved ones. Let's find justice. Let's bring justice to the world. And then, of course, we kept talking about war. The country kept talking about war. So we're trying to spread the message. We don't need war. We just need justice. So this was the message I would try to send to people around the world. We got a chance to go around the world. People from Peaceful Tomorrows went to Afghanistan. I got a chance to go to Japan, Bogota, Colombia, talking about violence, that violence begets violence, that this is insane what we're doing in the world. I would talk about the blowback of our foreign policy. This is what's creating the problems of the world. But at the same time, I was going to the 9/11 Commission hearings. And my opinions were starting to change. Well, in fact, I forgot, there's a member of Peaceful Tomorrows here now, and we had the opportunity in 2003, right before the Iraq War, and I actually had training in peaceful demonstration. And I'm not a peaceful person anymore. I got anger, bitterness, rage. I really do. But it was beautiful to do that, and we actually got arrested in Washington. And I found out by doing actions, your voice then begins to be heard. We had news interviews from around the world, and it was a great opportunity for me, someone from Orland, Pennsylvania, that I could be speaking to the Philippines, I could be speaking to people in South America, around the world, and talk about our foreign policy, that this is what's created our problems in the world. We must work on this. But then again, I was at the commission hearings, and there was a monumental moment during the commission meeting. I made 95% of the commission hearings. The day Condoleezza Rice spoke, where she was filibustering, refusing to answer any questions. And I honestly believe during the hearings that, geez, maybe we're going to get some answers. Maybe this government will change. I honestly believe that. All the way up until Condoleezza Rice spoke. I was getting my doubts, but I did have some hope. Then in August 6th, the meeting we had with Condoleezza Rice, and Ben Venice is asking her some tough questions, getting ticked off at her. And what I mean by the filibustering, she just told, well, we have to keep this in historical precedent. The briefings that we got about bin Laden attacking the United States, you have to keep that in perspective. And you have to remember during the commission hearings, each commissioner only had 5 minutes. Right there you knew it was a cover-up. You're only allowed 5 minutes to talk to one of the witnesses. So Ben Venice was getting angry at him, but boom, he had to stop. Then the thing after Condoleezza was finished, not only 9/11 family members, everybody's going up and patting her on the back, shaking her hands. She's refusing to testify about anything. And this is when it changed for me. I had an interview with a Canadian broadcasting company. And I walked up to them, they stuck the mic in front of my face, and they said, what do you think? And I said, excuse the language, this is effing bullshit. I just lost it, totally lost it. Well, when I lost it, suddenly I had 50 microphones in front of my face. And it's not a conscious decision, but I have anger. And this is the only way I can get my anger out. I can't be civil anymore. That's why I won't be on TV anymore, because if a Bill O'Reilly asks me, you know, how can you say that the buildings did this and that, or you're a conspiracist nut? Well, my first thing was say, did you read the damn book? 9/11 Commission? I'm sure no one's read the book in this country. I said, what are you talking about? I was ever at every commission hearing. Ben Veniste actually said, this is not an investigation, it is an exposition. I heard the man say it during lunch. What's an exposition? It's a show. 9/11 was a show. The 9/11 Commission was a show. Well, the thing I learned from that, maybe my anger will get me somewhere. I'm not a patriot. I want answers. I can't say I'm a patriot. I feel my country murdered my son. Well, no, I don't want to be a patriot. I want answers. I want to find out why my son was murdered. I did my own investigation. I feel I know. I don't need all this. It's my transformation. I want the world to know that this is what countries do, not just the United States. There's enough information out there. If you do any kind of research, and I don't want to call names, but you have to be a moron not to at least say, Jesus, government has done something. They're not answering their questions. But no one wants to leave their comfort zones. I hate the area I live in. I don't hate the people. I don't hate anyone. But the thing is, no one wants to discuss it. That angers me, really angers me. That's why I have a difficult time being a peaceful tomorrow. I'm supposed to be a peaceful person. I can't do it anymore. I mean, I do have an anger problem, and I should be dealing with it. My wife and I, we went to therapy for 3.5 years. We'd probably be divorced if we didn't do that. The first time I came home and told her that, geez, I think the government might have let this happen. That's where I was at that time. If she would have had a gun, she would have shot me in the head. The fact that our government might have known these attacks were coming and that her son's dead because of that. Well, thank God we had therapy, because I don't think we would ever lasted. But that's the stage I was in. She can't stand this kind of conversation because she has to think about, how can that happen? Well, most of the people in the United States feel that way. They can't go there. So that's why I talked about peace, press for truth. Well, at least that plants the seeds. And that hopefully people will continue to look at this, and hopefully they will get anger and rage. As a psychiatrist told me once, if I could give you a pill to make you happy, would you take that pill? And I said, no way in the world. I don't want to be happy. And if we find out the truth comes out, I still won't be happy. I still will have that anger. And it's the other side of depression. If I don't keep this anger going, then I will be depressed all the time. I'm not about to take medication. I have to have that anger. It's the only thing that makes me survive. And then with that anger, I keep researching and get an opportunity to talk to people and plant those seeds. And one more I want to if anybody was in 9/11, the Truth Conference we had in Phoenix last February, they had filmed me in a room there, and it's an Italian group, and it's called Zero Investigation. And I got a call 2 months ago. They invited me, and it was picked to be in the Rome Film Festival. And so they invited me over to Rome, and I was there last week. And no one in Italy, I don't know about Europe, but they don't know anything about 9/11. It's surprising. But the coverage this movie got was phenomenal. And there's the big difference. One movie. Now, it's not been a debatable thing. A lot of people, they do their thinking the press is wide open. But in the press the following day, it was phenomenal, the coverage that movie got. You had pictures of the towers being burned, blown up, planes going in. And this is all throughout Italy. I was on a national TV show. It was a phenomenal debate. I hated it because to me they had a debunker there. This man came in and he started the whole thing up and said, 9/11 truth is nothing but a bunch of Jew haters, Holocaust deniers, racists, Nazis. And I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what to do. And then immediately the whole panel on stage, they just argued for 20 minutes. As my interpreter said, that's the passion of the Italians. But the guy succeeded in destroying the debate because that's all they screamed about. Then after 20 minutes, they let me speak, and I just basically told them, I said, look, this is nonsense. That's all propaganda. And I said, bullshit. I said, I'm only a parent looking for the truth. And no one's given me the truth. The one place where we had the 9/11 Commission, it was a show. It was nothing but a show that, geez, democracy works. It's like my high school teacher told me. I'm mad at him, but he's dead now. I wish I could tell him, but I graduated from high school. World War I was what? To make the world safe for democracy. We'll talk about bullshit. But that's the only thing I ever learned in high school. And this is part of my transformation. This is more for me because I have to resolve my issues. But hopefully in resolving my issues, we will come to the truth. Okay, thanks a lot.